Wait. How's passing? Birds chirping.
Dogs was barking earlier.
Yeah, people quarreling. I mean, typical Trinity. Typical Trinity.
Yeah.
So what going on?
I think.
Thanks for being on my show, Unfiltered.
No problem.
So this is the nature of the show is to actually force people to come and talk, share their thoughts, their views, their ideas, anything. And we're gonna have I wanna have a platform where I'm able to provide not just free content but free information relative to today and where people, so like a comment that I normally make is that times change but people don't change, right? And Trinidad mentality is that kind of move for one thing, which is like the party country. And I want to be able to create a culture change eventually, you know, because it's not that I want me to follow America or that I want a particular country, but it is that I feel like being the party country is such a, I wouldn't say it's bad particularly, but it's non-progressive. And when you really talk to people about particular things, they want more from the country, from society, from the community, and from people. And they either don't know how, or they're not strong in creating this change that they want. And I'm hoping that, you know, maybe this could be it, you know. But one step at a time. So your name is Clayton, the modern day medicine man.
Well, I'm into herbs, so I like herbs. I wouldn't specify that as it, but herbs, yeah. As long as it's herbs.
Yeah. Once it's natural.
Once it's natural.
Alright. So what are you talking about? What are we talking about today?
Well, just to touch on what you was just explaining. Well, Trinidad, yes. I mean, I believe that you know, it's a time for fun, right? Like celebrations.
Yeah.
So people celebrate all over the world, no matter where you go. There's some sort of celebration, whether it's spiritual or just a celebration. But at the end of the day, you have to be also, I deal with truth, you know, so you have to, as long as you're doing what you know, you can have all the fun you want, but at the end of the day, you have to keep it where, you know, you're doing the right thing. And that's where Trinidad lies at right now, because, you know, we're in a country where, you know, anything basically, you know, what's going on concerning that. So, you know, I really think that, you know, people should be more educated and, you know, like, not like a closed-in kind of country and not understanding, you know, once we understand where we used to be, then it'll be easy for, you know, certain countries to get where they're supposed to be. So that's my take.
I say 20 cars passing.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, there's the woes of having to shoot wherever, you know, because thanks for them in their home, and
No problem.
I know you live very near.
Well, this ain't really a main road, but it just take everyone to the highway.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like a main road.
So it's like a back road, yeah.
Back road, main road, kind of thing. I mean, I see a main road like is a main road, right? As in more volume of traffic is passing.
Right.
So that I think that it's a
Yeah.
and I think people passing fast. So I mean, kind of no restrictions. So I feel like by central people is like the craziest people that drive.
Really?
Of course, I was like in Shogunas there when I was coming here. It had some real triple man drivers, right? Like, you know the road when you come by KFC?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So
That's where the taxi drivers be.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why on the right side, so right, this person was on left and almost hit my car from the because they wanted to swing right.
Right.
Yeah, when I was like, wait, how people can be so inconsiderate?
Yeah.
It's like you blatantly breaking the driving thing. Like.
I see them drive like that all over.
Yeah, wait, I mean.
Yeah, over on that side there, you gotta be sharp.
Yeah. There you go. So me and you had a real interesting discussion last time, though. And I wanted to piggyback on that a little bit and see if we could talk about that a little bit.
That was pertaining. We were talking about what? We were talking about a lot of things.
Yeah, me and you talk about plenty things.
Yeah, that was.
So I know talking about time religion, even though that was a real good conversation. But yeah, I was sorry to tell me what
I don't even remember what we were talking about at the gym. I forgot.
We were talking about psychedelics. LSD, DMT, ayahuasca.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you haven't tried any of those things yet?
No.
Only what do you feel like?
Well, no. The only thing I've tried was marijuana. But I heard about LSD and all that. But that's more like, I think it has something to do with shrooms as well.
Mm-hmm.
Shrooms also have that kind of
magic mushrooms.
Yeah.
But they come in like different grades. So like from my understanding, they're really potent mushrooms. Still less potent, of course, but it is nowhere close to like LSD or DMT, right? So from my understanding is that LSD and DMT throws you wholeheartedly into your consciousness.
Right.
So you have like DMT in particular, like if it's administered properly, like you take it properly, you're gonna have a whole, what could feel like a whole life intense. Like literally, like I watched these guys on YouTube talking about their stories and things, and one of my friends was telling me that he's listening to that guy talk about how he had a whole life, like literally like from birth to death, in a time span of 15-20 minutes, and then he woke up.
Yeah, that's
he grew up and he married, had children, and all these things.
Yeah.
And then people just talk about how I hear more people who seek, like they're seeking healing or like guidance or things like that. They meet entities and whatnot. And I don't know how it is that.
See, now we went from DMT to entities.
No, but that's the thing. That's how it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you take when you take a hit of DMT, right? And it's the same with ayahuasca as well, right? Because ayahuasca is just like a concoction that you drink, right? Ayahuasca has DMT in it, but is at a lower concentration. When you drink it, you go in and out
of consciousness. Not the same effect.
No, it's the same effect, but is lower intensity, but it lasts longer. So like your trip lasts like 8 hours, right? So you go in and out of consciousness and whatnot.
A whole 8 hours.
Yeah, and but it's less intense. But people have had encounters with, I wouldn't say like aliens, but like some people claim it to be like angels, God, things like that. Sometimes it could just be your true self, you know, and in connection with a higher entity, you know.
Actually, that is a fact, but on a higher level as well.
Yeah.
Because it's basically they call it an experiment, but it's not an experiment. It's actually an experiment, but it's a true experiment by way of science. So we use these certain drugs to get to that level when we can also do it without.
Yeah.
as well.
Well, yeah, I believe it because what happens is that in your mind, if it is you take a drug, right, and it works, which most drugs work, the fact that it works means that there's a receptor in your brain for that particular chemical combination, and so because it's there, it means that you're able to replicate it in your mind. Yeah, well, I don't know, but
yeah, they call it dopamine.
it's just things that you always research and nothing. So I know you're a guy who's had crazy encounters in the past. You wanna
I
tell
wouldn't
us?
say crazy. I would say they call it dreams because you have to remember that that's how our reality was shaped. So they're gonna say it's a dream. Then you know in ancient times it could have been explained in something different because a dream is like, to me, is, all right, you dream some wild dream and then, it don't make sense. But then I will have a dream that it wouldn't make sense, but it makes sense. Because, and I know it sounds weird, right?
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird because in the dream that makes sense, it's like I'm actually there. And I know I'm there. And I'm feeling myself there. I'm actually talking, not talking, but they're communicating to me. And it will sound crazy, but most of those dreams that I do have, those dreams I never forget. But the crazy ones, I always forget those. Like the wild ones, I just forget.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what do you want to remember?
Well, I'll give you one of my dreams. I ain't gonna give you the other one because the other one is the other one is like involved in an aircraft.
Okay.
But I'll give you that one at a later time. But this one here, I think I was explaining to you that I dreamed that I was in Alaska. So I'm walking in the cold and it's pitch dark out there.
So, you just went to sleep and you woke up and you're in Alaska.
I wouldn't know if I went to sleep. I didn't know if I, see it, when that happens, you never know when you drop to sleep. Like, you know how sometimes when you're laying in your bed and you just know
You're asleep?
you're going
to sleep.
Yeah, you're getting there.
Yeah.
This was like just boom.
Yeah. Teleportation.
And I'm there. So in my mind now, because I can't like speak through the dream, I can't speak in the dream for some reason, I can't talk. So in my mind, Alaska. So I'm talking in my head while I'm in Alaska. And I'm walking in the snow, right? Snow blowing, it's just like snowstorm blowing.
Yeah.
And I see two trucks pull up. And I remember this, and this dream I had long ago.
How long?
Say about 10 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah. And two trucks, right now. I told my family this dream, same way I'm gonna tell you the dream. Two trucks pull up, like army trucks, right? You know the big army trucks, they have the back like green, like it's made out of some type of cloth or something. And you know the big green, and the big tires, the big snow tires. I don't know if you ever saw those type of,
I know.
those type of convoys.
Yeah.
Right? And they pulled up, and a lady jumped out, Caucasian, right? And she walked up to me and looked at me in my eyes, and she was like, "What are you doing here?"
Yeah.
And I didn't respond because I was like, I think I shrugged my shoulders like I couldn't respond, but I knew I'm in the dream. So she carried me down these stairs, right? All of a sudden, we're going down the stairs, just me and her. The stairs had lights. It was spiral. It was going down in a circle. And it had lights. It was a real pretty place. Like, it was real high tech.
So you're underground now?
I wouldn't say I was underground. No, it wasn't like going down. I just went down the steps and I found myself in a shower.
Okay.
Right? So while I'm taking a shower, it's different showers. So you're seeing other people taking showers in there as well. So I'm in there taking a shower. Remember, I'm like incompetent. I'm there, but
yeah, can't speak, and you don't know him.
So I'm in the shower, and after I came out the shower, we took a long walk in an area that what appears to be, that looked like a baseball park, like in the States. So more like a field, but a baseball park where they call the pit. It's like where the players sit at, and it's like but you're seeing the park, and I'm walking around and seeing the fence and everything. And as I was walking around, I didn't see that lady anymore.
Okay.
So when I'm going around the fence to go under, it, you know, I was coming as the field, and then when you walk in, you under. So before I went under to walk back down wherever I was going, there was two tall individuals there. One of them looked like Avatar. The blue face and everything like that. And the other one was...
He was blue?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
And he was very tall, like about...
Yeah.
I had to look up at both of them, and he was just standing there. And the other one, and he had on... I don't know what he had on, but he had on a garment. But you've seen the blue face and features and everything. The other one was what we call a African woman. She had a fro. Okay. And she was tall as him. Okay. But she had on all white. But she had a perfect fro. Okay. She's dark skinned. And I looked up and I'm like, wow, I'm just staring at her. I'm just, you know,
and they see you.
Marvel, yeah, because they looking down at me. I mean, they looking at me, but no one is saying anything. So all of a sudden, I'm instructed to go further, right? So when I kept walking, so now I'm walking, and a girl about my height, but her face was the same color as her hair. Her face was more like an orange kind of sun kind of color, and her hair was the same color, right? And she walked up to me and she looked and she had a little flashlight and put it in my eyes, right? So I'm standing there, and there was a lady at a desk where she was, but I couldn't notice, or I know it was a lady at the desk, because she came from around with the little flashlight. And she looked at the lady and she was like, is he okay? Like, good to go or something. And the lady was like, yeah. They let me walk. And when I walked past her, I didn't remember anything after that. Yeah. Next thing you know, I'm back in the shower. And then I woke up.
Wow. So you had a trip to Alaska. Special flight.
Special flight.
A special flight. You met some interesting entities, because they're clearly entities. If it is a tall man, you have to look up to them, right?
Yeah, think about they had long legs, very tall, long arms. So I'd say about 15 to 20.
Well, as long as a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you had this whole little adventure there in this time in Alaska, and they gave you some sort of clearance, then you blanked out, and then you came back to and you was like at the shower again, and then you woke up.
Then I woke up. So whatever happened after that, I don't know what happened.
And you don't even know how long that was.
I don't know how long it was. sometimes I try to time myself, but it's very difficult for those type of dreams to time yourself. Because I used to do that.
Yeah.
And one time I had a dream, and I got up, and when I went back to sleep, I went back into the same dream.
Yeah, that's happened. I remember for some reason I was having like 4 days in a row or so I was having this really specific nightmare. Right? Like it was literally like a nightmare, it was straight out of like a horror movie or something, but you know your mind is literally take you places, right?
Yeah.
And every night for 4 days or so straight I had this exact same nightmare. It was like for some reason I was in a kind of swamp like place, right? And it had an old wooden house that was up on pillars, like, right? So it was just like to avoid the swamp water kind of way, right? And I remember having to, it had nothing to do, and I couldn't get myself out of the dream, right? Like some people will be like they lucid dreaming in a way and they know that they're dreaming. So I knew I was in a dream, but I had no control.
And you couldn't nap and wake yourself up?
And I couldn't wake up. Like I couldn't force myself to wake up, right? I know I was in a dream, but I couldn't wake up.
Right.
And I had to go into the woods and all these things, like it was an RPG kind of thing, and met up a witch, right? And the witch was trying to I can't remember exactly what the witch was trying to do, but she was trying to get a hold of me to do some kind of thing. It wasn't the help, I mean, it wasn't a pleasant dream, but it was ridiculously scary. And I find it real strange that, your mind could hold on to something that it created and put you back in it.
Right.
Like in terms of a dream like that, because before that I was thinking
You were there before?
I hadn't seen any horror movies, I hadn't seen any ghost movies or shows or anything.
Right.
And it was just random, it like absolutely random. And it happened 4 days in a row. And I can't remember what I did to get out of that, like to stop having a dream. But I don't know, but it's really interesting and weird that, like what I said, your mind can just throw you into a situation.
I believe if you believe in reincarnation, then I think a lot of that will make sense of what we dream. Because the problem with us as a people is fear. It's fear. And when you fear, that's where we mess up at. Because at some point someone taught us how to be scared, out of fear. And we all just scared of just even if you say one thing.
That's the system, right? I mean, a lot of people scared of so much different things in their regular life. Like people don't want to stay home from work because they're scared to get some kind of problem and they don't get paid.
Right.
And so much people live in paycheck to paycheck that they can't stay home one day because it's problems.
Right, that's a form of fear.
Yeah, fair. And that's just part of how the system is, And honestly, like I can't imagine what life would have been like in whatever metric you count as, not you, but like people, right? As individuals, it doesn't matter, right? But let's just say go back in time as right before people started making guns and all these things, and just as a passerby, you're just observing what life would have been like, I mean, if there's anything, I would love to go back and see like the pyramids and all these things. Because, there's have these documentaries where people just go and they show you the hieroglyphics and all these things, and you just see the carvings of aliens on it, right? And it's like spaceships and men with helmets on and all kind of things. It's like the world is such a mysterious place. So it's like I want to know it all, but I feel like I don't know if you ever have this story, but you ever feel like if you had the knowledge that you seek,
If I ever,
if you had the knowledge that you were seeking, if you had all of the knowledge that you were seeking, that you might have been fair, because you know exactly what's happening at any point in time. It's not like being like having like godlike powers or anything, or knowledge or anything like that, right? You're not having knowledge of the future. You just have knowledge of everything that's happening now, and everything that had happened to tailor history. You know,
well, yeah, you do lose some fear. Like, especially
not
when,
lose faith, but yeah, you think that you would have more faith because you know that.
because you know everything.
Yeah.
To me, when I was most feared, to tell you the truth, is when I was just into one religion. I was into religion. That was the most fearful era in my life.
Okay.
The least fearful is when I started doing research and started studying ancient history and ancient culture. And that's when I got to the least fear. Because what they say to us is not what they're saying.
It's not what they live in or practicing.
No. The information, see, when you as an individual can understand that anywhere you receive your information as no matter what religion you're in, once you trace back where this information came from, you see, when you go back and you stop, then that's you, because you stop to that point. But when you keep searching and digging, then you will find the truth, just like you were just speaking about the hieroglyphics. They can't decipher the hieroglyphics as a whole. Just a few different objects, they can, interpret. But the information was interpreted because the invaders that came in knew not to kill off the priest or whoever was there at the time that can translate this information. And once they got it, then yeah, they killed them all. But these are all stories and these are all facts. And that happened. This is documented information. So when you go back and you see that, yeah, the stories is there. I don't take nothing from it, the Bible or whatever, but the way they have you, how you would read a story is not necessarily to take it face value. It could be talking about some type of astrological, spiritual story, These are not real people most of the time. And when you learn, when you understand, that's how our ancestors taught us on that kind of level, then you'll understand why they personified certain deities and have people living in fear.
Well, I know that people, not just people, but like, if you believe that there is a higher being, as in a god, or like karma, or cosmic energy, at least whatever it is you want to call it, but they just misconstrued, right? If you believe that there is a god, you have to believe that there is a evil presence as well, like a devil in that sense, right? And the devil's job is to misguide people, humanity in that way, right?
Yeah.
And you can't help but wonder to what extent that, because religion has involvement amongst man, right?
Well, it was made to divide.
Right, and that's the point, right? So like, you're just saying, like, you don't know about you're not, I can't remember this, sorry. You're talking about how people got personified or
Well, yeah, it's like
as
we-
gods, and
yeah.
you can't help but wonder, like I lost my train of thought with that last story, but like you can't help but wonder, if it's really this grand scheme about the devil trying to just do its way and things,
Devil is people. The devil is not somebody with a fork in his hand, enticing people to do something and making them do things. People, that's you. That's the yin and yang. That's the not the yin and yang. That is the Horus and or Set. That Horus and Set.
Yeah.
They are twins, right?
The twins.
Right.
Okay.
I probably got it wrong, but Horus had a twin. One of them chopped up the other one.
Okay.
Right? That's the story, from Isis. That's the Isis story of Horus and
well, I know Seth was the I don't know if Seth was really a good guy, but he was affiliated with the underworld.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So this is what they say is that we now, from the way we was taught to learn, they taught us to learn that every time we hear a story like the cow jump over the moon, like we actually picture in that. So we always trying to put a picture to something, right? So what that means is that Seth and Horus, those are two, one and the same. You have those attributes in you. You have that in you as well. You can be evil and good. That's what the Isis story is based upon. So Seth ain't no bad guy. Seth is telling you is that there is a dark and there is a light. That's how they put it. But without the dark, it wouldn't be a light. So no matter what you do, you have to embrace the dark. But the dark don't necessarily mean something bad. That's where they bring the fear to humanity. Black cat. Bad guys wear black. That's where they bring the fear. It's like they controlling your thoughts. They're controlling everything you do. So when you go back and you start understanding now what the ancients were saying, then you can, it coincides with whatever book you read. Now, just like in the Christian, the King James is good and bad in there.
Yeah, there's some crazy stories in there.
Yeah. And I will tell the world that I read this thing 5 times because I was a book reader. I read a lot of books.
Yeah.
And I read this thing 5 times.
And
every time you read it,
you told me that, yeah.
But we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that book.
That one is the CIA guy.
Yeah.
But it's just that you gotta understand what you're reading. Sometimes what you're reading, it could be code scripted. It's not necessarily speaking about, it's talking in codes. So you gotta learn how to understand when you're reading something.
Read between the lines.
Right, and reading in codes. You're reading a story, and you're like, wait a minute. This same story coincides with what I'm looking at in the sky, in the stars, in the heavens, in the moon, how it moves from one place to the next, how the earth goes from one degree to the next, how the sun, how the sun sits in one spot for 3 days straight, which in ancient days they said the sun died because the sun moves a degree. I don't know how ever so often, but they know the movement of the sun. But every year, if you look at the sun on the 23rd, somewhere around there, the sun Just go outside and look in the sky and see if the sun moved from its position, right? The sun always goes like a degree every day. It stayed there for 3 days. And on the third day, the sun moved a degree. The resurrection.
Does not the just the earth moving in comparison to the sun?
Well, who said the earth moves? See, that's the story they're giving us, that the earth, they're giving us that. But this story that I'm giving you is not no story that I made up. This is a story from ancient times. Is what they call the death and the resurrection. This predates the Bible. These stories, the ISIS predates the Bible. 5,000, 10, and I'm being moderate. 10, 20.
Yeah, no, the story for us is way older than the
Of
story
course,
of Jesus. Yeah.
of course. So where do you think they got it from? If the Greeks sat at the footstool of the ancients and was taught by them, there's many books that they wrote about, and they explain to you how they got the information, how they got knowledge.
Aliens.
No, it's not aliens. They giving us the alien story.
Yeah.
And you probably the alien.
Me?
Yeah.
Me.
You never know.
Never.
Right? Because if you find any fossils as old as 250,000 and 3 million years of Lucy, right? That's what they call Lucy. She's 3 million years old. They call her Lucy. They said she's I forgot what they call it, but some type of woman. She was a woman, but kind of like her features was like, they made it look like ape-like features, or it's all. And then that questions a lot, because most of those fossils is in museums. A lot of those pharaohs from ancient Egypt is in museums.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Egypt is a really interesting, I wouldn't say a story. There's a lot of interesting history there. And I feel like how life is affected today has a lot of what actually happened during the building of the pyramids. And I know a lot of religious people might want to have their own say about anything that they want to say, right? But when it is you look at symbolism that is being portrayed in the music industry and in Hollywood and things like that, right? You always see, and even in the US currency, you always see the an eye. Where the eye come from, not Egypt.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did.
Yeah, that's Horus's eye, right?
Yes, it is.
Right. So I feel like we're so deeply seated in the history of Egypt that we're living it and we don't even know.
Yeah, of course, because it's in your DNA. You cannot, listen, if we had any form of life millions of years ago, where do you think you came about? You didn't just snap here. When we talk about DNA, we talking about DNA work of information, because they can get information from your DNA. You know, and who don't know that, then you need to learn science. And this is being taught. You know.
That's trying to make sure I'm not again.
Nah, you're hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not in the hood, man. Don't make people think you're in the hood somewhere.
Yeah, talking about black guys. I'm in the hood.
But yeah, that's a whole different topic when it comes to your DNA and how the scientists they coming up with information day by day. Right. So now many scholars, right, you name it, many scholars took this road, right, to where they find out how before we even was speaking, How was, how the information traveled from Ethiopia through the Nile or, to Egypt. And that's when Egypt, the information that we know here today, it took thousands and hundreds of thousands of years in order to perfect it. So we have a timeline issue here. Meaning, why are you saying the earth and when God created heaven and earth, that's a little over 6,000 years ago. So you got to understand the timelines as well. So if God created heaven and earth 6,000 years ago in the Bible, Genesis, and we're living through it now, then...
You actually the second person to tell me that.
Yeah, what is the issue with all this information? And just to build the pyramids, we're talking about 70-ton blocks at the very peak of the pyramid. And it's done so perfect that you can't even stick a grain of your hair through one of the blocks.
And people don't know this part, right? That the pyramids are not just built with these limestone, or whatever it is they made from.
Limestone, gold,
whatever it is they made. That blocks is not just made with that. They're actually sheeted with I can't remember the type of rock it is sheeted with, but it's sheeted with kind of dazzly like.
The top of it had gold.
Yeah, the top has gold, but the sides actually had some kind of graphite, kind of limestone, kind of shiny material protectant, and it's still there. It's still there. Most of it is gone, but if it is your look, you can see it. That's when you see like when you have the pyramids like this, right? And you see, if it is just looking at pictures, you'll see like a kind of plastered on kind of thing. But if like you're looking like that pulled off, part pulled off.
Yeah, they chipped it off.
Yeah,
you're right.
I mean, there's wear and tear, but I mean.
But no, well, you have to remember it was looted.
Yeah.
The gold ain't gonna just wear and tear. They're gonna take that off the top.
Yeah. But I kind of really interested in what's underneath the pyramid.
A lot of scholars been under there.
Yeah.
And they say it's tombs. That's the first. The image of a light bulb, kind of like shaped in a serpent form. And
I really the story like they don't know what powers it.
Yeah. So it's once again, what we're doing will not amaze what the ancients did. What we're doing now will not amaze them, because we're taking the back road of everything. The cell phones with radiation and everything is just bad.
Yeah.
And it could have been good as well. So, in other words, we didn't have to be driving around with cars and gas and pollute the air.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, like, look at Elon Musk. He's making a lot of hybrid, not just hybrid, but electric vehicles now. I mean, we in the Caribbean, we're privileged with hybrid vehicles, and I say privileged because there are so many other countries around the world that still operate on their whole entire country. All their vehicles are petrol, right? And the country is not rich in the sense that it can afford things like to bring in cars, and people can't afford to bring in cars, and even though a lot of people own hotels, and when you check the price of the ownings, even though it might be rich for that country, compared to like what it costs to actually buy a car in Japan, it is a lot, I mean, and that's probably just like my own little 2 cents, because I watch a lot of travel shows and right, and when these guys they go to cities in Africa and like in African countries, and you really see the real life of what's happening.
Yeah.
And you still see people pulling on carts with
Yeah.
bison and things.
Certain areas still, you know, certain areas is, and then they have some super areas in Africa, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Right now they're trying to outdo Dubai
yeah,
in Nigeria.
yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a city in Nigeria that was outcasted by the country, right? And what happens is that city, that small, is a smaller place. The people, they live in the water. So like all their houses and everything
It's alongside the wall.
no, it's not alongside the water. It's literally inside the water. Yeah. So people go and they build their houses in the water on top of sticks and like
Right.
so communal that people just help each other build houses and it's made from like bamboo and not bamboo probably thing, but it's all material wood and all these things.
Amazing.
People just go around with boats and all kind of thing. It's like I mean life is fine away. Just to quote that guy from Jurassic Park.
I seen something similar to that, but they had like a walkway going into the sea, like
Yeah.
no huts.
Yeah, that's like tourist destinations. Like talking like actual, I just send you
Living in the sea.
living in the sea.
So you gotta go take a boat.
Yeah, they literally take a boat. Yeah, and go and check it out. But
Okay.
I'll send you the video. But let's talk about this book that you read some years ago. The book is called Behold the Pale Horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, infamous book. I didn't mean to get a copy of this,
About William Cooper.
what that book is about for people who don't know.
William
Who probably
Cooper.
still listening.
William Cooper is old ex-CIA. Yeah, he was CIA agent, ex-CIA agent
Yeah.
that operated somewhere between the 70s and somewhere between the 70s, 80s until he started writing this book. You know that actually pissed off the government.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it's an interesting book. He basically write about a lot of information he found, data, a lot of data he found. Like it was still in old computers that he was just running into because we have a lot of high tech people to the point where you wouldn't even understand like how you retrieve this type of information because when people think they deleting things or they deleting pictures or they deleting information, it is there. It is there. It's somewhere there, but it's there. It's not deleted.
Yeah.
Right? And he don't know why he was initiated as I believe he had to, the same thing as the industry, he had one of those encounters. And he said he believed it was from his grandfather or something like that. But I have to find out, but yeah, it was something concerning his grandfather. So basically like a Mason initiation. He went through all that.
Okay.
He was a candidate for secret society,
Wow.
and they chose him.
Which one?
Well, he was the CIA,
Yeah.
but it
But like which particular secret society are we talking about? We're talking about the Illuminati,
Well,
Freemasons,
that's
Skull and Bones.
that's the thing. He
didn't
when
say.
he spoke about all three, but he didn't specify which one. He just knew that he was in, and he knew that his grandfather was a Freemason.
Wow.
Right. So now it does have different entities that have different groups, Skull and Bone. You have the Illuminati, Skull and Bone, and Illuminati is two separate entities.
Yeah, two separate.
And what he did was went against him. After he explained about how the first part of the book is explaining the data information about cancer,
Mhm.
AIDS, and all this was actually created in a lab,
Mhm.
right? You have backup, you have signed documents in his book, letters written to him from other ex-CIA agents. You know, it was like a whole kind of a hidden from the hidden, you
Yeah.
know? And
So I guess all these people are like they probably wanted to speak out as well, but they weren't as brave as him.
well, yeah,
Yeah. So they sent them their support. In
correct.
Yeah.
You know, according to, you know,
Mm.
William Cooper, right? Also, he spoke about a lot about what we're going through here as well, about new pandemics and, you know, diseases. It's basically, what he's saying is like a attack,
Mm.
but you know, people just think that they live in their normal everyday lives. You get up, you go to work, you go out, like you were talking about, you have a good time, time for your celebration, your prayers, you know, it's just everyday life. And that's how they want you, you know. But if you,
Things.
yeah, if you really look in the deeper end, you'll see that it's an attack on you, you know.
Is it that on consciousness?
Yeah, on consciousness is like deeper than the physical. And he explained a lot about battleships bringing in cocaine in the country, and he had to let it because he was in charge, you know, on the sea with like he was like one of the top guys. Yeah, that you know he allowed a lot of battleships to pass with coke, heroin, and cannot search, cannot. They ordered him to. So he just started, you know, witnessing what was, you know, really going down in the, you know, the unseen. And we spoke about UFOs as well. That, you know, they try to make us believe that it's some type of outside intelligence when these things also exist. They create them, they're making them, they build them. You know,
We don't know the ships.
Man, spaceship. Yeah. He spoke about.
So wait, hold on. He talked about UFOs, but he's saying that UFOs don't exist.
No, he said they exist, but
The
they're
alien
not.
life in particular.
Yeah, they're not saying there's something like that as well, but that is definitely like another long topic. But these aircrafts are being made by Air Force One as well. They are getting the information.
Is that called Barbosa? So like he was chosen to work in Area 51, right? Really intelligent there, right? And people could check out his interview, his episode on Joe Rogan. He went into full detail about what he used to do there. And he was talking about how he was selected to back engineer spaceships, right? Alien spaceship. And how he met aliens and all these things, right? And everything is confidential. It's a real Manhattan project, right? I saw the Manhattan project is where particular people work on separate projects to make one greater thing, right? So like let me say this, right? The Manhattan project was like there's a group of people who working on gunpowder. There's a couple other people who working in sheeting and bomb parts and things, right? And then there's another division that works on making fuses and things like that, right? And everybody did not know of each other's existence, but the people who are operating, who was managing this, knew of what they were doing, of course, right? And they all got together and just like assembled it, easy, plug and play sort of thing. And so that is like a loose example of what a Manhattan project is, because it is actually based on a real life event.
Right.
And so the Area 51 thing is the same thing, the whole Manhattan Project as well.
Yeah.
So there are people who work in particular divisions that are not allowed to know that other divisions exist and not to communicate with them. If it is, they do know that they exist.
Correct.
And they have to back engineer this whole foreign thing that modern day physics can't explain. So they have to figure it out from scratch. And people just talk about how so like there are stories of where you will hear air guards and they're talking about UFOs that they found, right? I'm talking about UFOs because people can't deny the existence of UFOs anymore. It's so prevalent today. And the thing is, the US government has come out and acknowledged that UFOs exist. Recently, yeah. So it is a thing now, right? So there's an interview that Edgar, he was talking about how on this scanner they found this UFO thing somewhere, right? And in literally split second, the ship went from some odd number of feet in the air. Let's say an imaginary number, let's say 80,000 feet. Boom, split second, 1,000 feet over the ocean. Yeah, and they couldn't believe what they were seeing. They couldn't believe their eyes. They blinked and they literally missed it. But they started to, yeah, and I don't know, it is so crazy, you know, because they had to go and figure out like what is the propulsion system, what protected them from the torque and the speed and things like that, you know. I don't think he went into details with regards to that, but
like how they go undetected?
No, like I don't think he went into details on how it actually worked, right? But it's some really interesting stuff. Like he has had documentaries made out of his life. It's crazy. And when you look at the conspiracies I mean that's happening today, you can't help but wonder how much things are things actually tied to.
Let's use this word conspiracy. Everybody like to throw around.
Yeah.
Conspiracy. It's a word that the FBI created, or the government created. Conspiracy, the word didn't come out not too long ago, because they knew they needed something to use to say that if you do speak out,
people are gonna label it as a conspiracy theory and call you crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a word we need, and this is a fact. The government created that word just for that. This is what we're talking about. So people just love to throw words around, and now if you have one person speaking one thing, that's something. But you have a whole list of people within the same work field speaking the same thing. Then it becomes a problem, because a lot of people from the CIA, or even the ones that left now, can verify William Cooper's information.
Well, I don't want this to be just like a whole conspiracy.
But I mean,
I know, but the thing is,
the book is fairly good.
Yeah, I believe that a lot of things that people speak out on do come to pass. And one thing that I really want to have a discussion with you about is the topic of timelines.
Yeah.
The Alice in Wonderland thing. Woo! Down the rabbit hole we go.
His name is
Trump?
No.
Not Donald Trump.
And this is another CIA agent. Worked with NASA. He has a lot of titles. I believe his name is Tim or Jim Woods. A lot of people familiar with him. People that, a lot of people familiar with him. Well, I watched this interview. Actually, it was on camera. And
Project Camelot, yeah. That was a really interesting interview because somewhere throughout the interview, like helicopters came over the
yeah,
people's house.
at the same time.
Yeah.
When they were speaking, because you gotta remember, he's there, they probably have a chip in him,
Yeah,
they're probably following him.
Declassified.
Yeah, you need to understand that these things are actually happening. You know, they know where you know.
Yeah.
The same thing we see in movies where somebody got a chip in them and you don't know why, everywhere you go in the world, you know where you at.
Yeah.
These things happen. You know?
Yeah. I know that one thing leads to another, right? And I can't help but feel like, so we'll just stick on the timelines for now, right? So,
well, that's
Project
interesting. Yeah.
Like, so it's tied in with CERN, the super collider, and it's tied in with the Mandela effect and all these things.
Yeah.
Right? And you know what the Mandela effect, right?
I don't really, I know about it, but
not to the extent.
yeah.
So the Mandela effect is like for people who listen is collective misremembrance of something that has already happened or has changed in a sense, right? So like people. Right, so if I was to ask you what the classic line in Star Wars is, right?
Right.
With between Luke and
yeah, they changed it up and
so it's like,
I remember saying this and then
so no, I asked you what is Len? What is Len? When Luke
I couldn't remember, but I remember something like
so I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna give you two examples, right? And you tell me which one you think is correct, right?
Right.
No, I am your father.
I remember that very well.
I am your father.
Now, the one I could probably remember is Luke, I'm your father. I am your father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think that's it?
I wouldn't say that because I know where you get that because that's one of those, like where, like, you know, things change like on cereal boxes and stuff like that and we like, wait a minute.
It wasn't like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that could be like remarketing and rebranding and as well, right? But let's just
But
forget,
it would be in file though.
let me forget about things that actually could change and let me just talk about things that have happened in the past that all of us remember. So let's just talk about the Star Wars movie, right? So with the Star Wars, the line is, "Look, I am your father," right? And if you just want to watch Star Wars now, or just watch that clip on YouTube, it will say, "No, I am your father." But when you look back at pictures, and these are real people with real paraphernalia and real fan collected items, that one famous line is always, "Luke, I am your father," and these people who have all these memorabilia, has the word, "Luke, I am your father."
Right.
That's those specific words.
Right.
But how is it you're gonna have an item from the past that is based on a movie with the wrong caption, with the wrong lines, you know, and the movie says something else? So I mean, the Mandela effect is like that, is literally like that. So another
The past
one,
and the future is one and the same.
another one is like Forrest Gump, right? When he was sitting at the bench with the lady and he said, "Life is like a box of chocolates."
Yeah, I remember that one.
And it's slightly different, right? But you could hear it if it was listening to it, right? So he said, "Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get," right? Or the line is either one or two, right? So he says, "Life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get." So is it was or is it is? You know? And these are so many things that people are really concerned about because another one that is really popular is the Looney Tunes one, right? So the Looney Tunes is like, is it TOONS or TUN, right? So I remember TOON because it's tunes, cartoons, right?
All day.
And now it's TUNS, tunes like music, which don't make sense. Why? Because they don't sing in the show. But that's just a tangent on the Mandela effect. And bringing it back to Project Camelot is that people think that CERN with their super collider, they created an alternative timeline
Yeah.
that
Very
that
currently on.
reality has been shifted slightly, where we remember things from the previous timeline that no longer exist
Right.
in the current timeline, right? So we're in timeline two. For just to put it lightly, right?
Right.
And it sounds like things from the Flash, the Flash series or episode, movies, things like that.
It can be altered.
Yeah, but you can't help but wonder what the actual agenda is behind something like that, you know?
The agenda.
The agenda
Based
is to
upon
control the
my
past.
speculation, yeah. You're not controlling the past or the future. You're buying time. You're buying time.
By and forth.
Who knows what? Right? Because timeline goes, let's say the timeline goes in one direction. And this is how he explained it. Like, timeline will be in one direction. And you cannot change anything while you're here, right?
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is alter it by creating a loop. And once you create this, but you're not creating a loop, you altering it, but it will come into a loop.
Create a new time.
No, and go back where we should be, and then shoot forward.
Okay, so I understand. So it's like you're back in time. You pick a particular date, right? You edit whatever it is you want to edit. Time goes out on a tangent, right? And time starts back at present time where you actually are, with all this new information that happened in the past.
According to how he explained it, is that
The Cooper guy? The Jim guy?
Jim, that you're already in the future.
Because the future is constantly being recreated?
No, because the future is there. It's ever evolving. It's infinity. It never stops. Like just like information. You come out with the flip phones, and now you're holding flat phones and thin phones. And you just in the next 10 years, what will you be holding as a cell phone or type of communication?
That's crazy. I think I don't know if I sent you this on Instagram, right? I know I sent this on, but I can't remember what it was, right? And but I know I saw this particular article where it was with Elon Musk. He was or Bill Gates, one of the two of them, right? And they wanted to create a chip to put into your head, right? That so basically it's transhumanism, but it's transhumanism mobile. If I was to coin a term for it, right? So like they put this chip in your head and you're connected to the supercomputer,
Right.
And you're able to live forever through. You're able to transfer your consciousness, right?
Yeah.
So that is what transhumanism is, and transhumanism is connecting the consciousness to the machine. We see it in Terminator, we see it in Matrix, we see it in what else we see it in? What else we see it in bigger? I can't remember. There will be some routines like that. You will see it.
And not to mention
there's
Sophia Stewart, she created.
Who?
Sophia Stewart is the creator of Terminator and The Matrix, but I'll tell you about that another time.
That's not the transgender people?
No, she's the original author.
Oh, she wrote books?
Yeah, she's the original author, but she went through a whole ordeal with the two brothers and
Yeah, they were brothers.
yeah, she went through a whole yeah, that's a whole different topic.
But you see how much interesting things that way?
Because alright.
How much time we have? What is the time?
9:57. We've been here long.
Ah,
Because, yeah, what you want to talk about is
yeah, so,
like we can go on and on.
Yeah.
But no, but what you're saying there,
Mm.
right, with Bill Gates and these once again, these are tangible.
Is it war on consciousness?
It's tangible. So it's saying that, okay, we used to communicate without a cell phone.
Mm.
How? You see what I'm saying? If we had those abilities, we were kind of like superhuman.
Mm.
Because we was on a whole different frame of thought, diet, you name it. So this is the world they trying to create, which is impossible. You know, like how Mr. Woods explained it. It's impossible. You can alter it, but you cannot change what's in the future. And the problem that they're having is that there is an ending to it, because that loop is where, you know, the drugs came in, the killing, the sex, the murders, they create the loop, bad food eating, party, drugs, you name it. In order for, basically, it's like the way how we explain it, the leaders, that's what they're trying to do, it's basically impossible, because what they use him for was to speak through the universe, not by words. It's by numbers, by vibration.
Yeah.
That's
what you said about
vibration is a language.
Yeah.
Without words. And we need to learn. If we was taught these kind of things, then that's where we will be shot in the future, because everybody collected, we would have created a whole super planet. Someone altered it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you holding back information, and look at China. They have a lot of top intelligent youths growing up, because they're giving them partial, but not the full, you know, information that we wouldn't understand that. Like the timeline, the looking glass, he get word back from whatever vibrational frequency he's actually communicating with. And he said every time they go out, he will be home, and they will come and snatch him, put his mask on, everything, take him underground and have him talk to them. They send back, or whatever it is. They pull in all this, you know, this information. You know, they have the technology to do that.
Well, life has so much mystery.
It's not a mystery. It's something that's hidden from us, so therefore we don't have the ability to use it, because
How you
they
can
talk
use
about,
something? How you can use something you don't know exists?
You gotta remember, they talking about portals that they found in Iraq and different places in Syria. It's actually portals, but they unable to use them. They shut down, but they are portals. You know, they trying to take these portals and regenerate it and turn it back on. Because what it do, it makes you. It's like, what's the name? Back to the Future. It makes you look into the future. And this is the information, you know, Jim was, and we talked about like 2 hours of a whole lot of things that I really can't remember, but yeah, he's real good.
We'll do on his podcast and
He's incredible.
We'll brush up on the information and we can probably talk about a lot more things. But yeah, it's a lot to really recap here, right? I mean, we're not done, right? I'm just saying, but like we touched on so much different things. They feel like separate.
That's a little bit.
And that's a little, and they feel like they're so not connected. They're all individual things, but somehow the more that you study these things, you're actually seeing that they're all connected.
Everything is part of a whole collection.
Yeah.
Everything, like you're just part of that puzzle.
Yeah.
It's a big puzzle you just throw down, and you're part of that puzzle. You're a piece to that puzzle. That's the God consciousness. That's God. You have to get. You're nowhere near close to Him. And that's another thing we need to talk about, because who gave God a agenda, right? We didn't understand that. It was just information that was given to sent down information, and our great grandparents, and we received that from people just like you and me. But the actual truth is what is it? What is really going on? You know, what is the meaning of the yin and yang symbol? Why the very first cross had a representation of a female, which is the ankh, shaped like a loop, 2 ends.
Yeah.
The very first, that is the original cross. So why they gave us this one? Represent 2 phalluses in the children. The loop is representing the womb. The phallus is representing in the womb. The branches is the kid, the children, which represent us as a whole, which took the woman out and gave us the masculine concept. We're all unbalanced.
I think there's so much things right now to like you said, is a war, like we've been saying, is a war of consciousness, right? And it feels like whoever is in charge, or if there is any particular person in charge, or entity, or body, they keep throwing in things and just throw us in a loophole, you know?
It's two, from what I heard, it's two entities. One is actually on our side, and the other one is they trying to keep control and control. And but the problem is that nothing is going to really come and save you out of this. The problem is we need to understand that we need to do this as a people, because that's what they're saying. They see, look at all these things that's going on now. They're trying to make you see. All the information I'm talking about is on the web so long. There's so much. All information is on the web. So if you're trying to learn or trying to find out something, all you gotta do is type it in.
Yeah.
But Zuckerberg and them know that, hey, okay, our little world, it have the majority, which is over 1 billion people, they taking selfies. they posting all kind of madness.
Yeah.
People fighting. They trying to see where your head is at. So when they hit you with this pandemic, they know that you're going to suck into it because you're the level of intelligence.
Mm.
They're tracking your every move, so they're seeing that, okay, we're still on the winning side.
Yeah.
So they can continue to try to do something that is not going to work.
You think the vaccine is the whole pandemic is that means to microchip people against the world?
I don't like to speak on it, really, because, you know.
It's a popular theory.
Yeah. We living on a planet where people pay homage to a creator that created the heaven and earth, right? For you to believe that your creator created you, not knowing that there was going to be some type of diseases or, you know, some type of, you know, without providing you with that medication aforetime, because our creator is supposed to know everything that happened before it happened, right or wrong, right? Why are we, as a people, not more into what's coming from the ground, like that natural medicine, which is opposed to more into whatever they want to shoot inside of you?
You know, watch out.
I mean, it's like total.
Yeah.
It's like a psychedelic thing. It is.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to hear what your psychedelic as you mentioned.
It have to make sense.
It has. Well, you think you're going to do it? LSD?
I heard about LSD so long. You have to understand my age. I knew about all these things.
I know.
Yeah, and I just never.
But
because
I mean,
yeah.
If it is that you think is going to give you like a crazy spiritual trip, you want to try it?
I can probably go there through the natural way, but through the natural way is much more scarier. But I don't know. Maybe not.
So we can't do some of this.
Man, the only thing is with me is because I know sometimes when I go certain places, it's like,
you want to come back right away?
yeah. And to be stuck there for that amount of time, I don't know. I might, and knowing the type of person I am, I might see all type of.
LSD doesn't put you unconscious, right?
No?
No. If it is that you want to have like a.
So does it make you go to sleep?
No. You can stay wide awake.
So you walk around looking crazy then? Or you just have a room full of.
Crackheads?
I don't know, it could be anybody
No. But
from
like,
a different planet.
But alright, so I did one then, right? And the one time that I
That
did,
was what, LSD or?
yeah,
Okay.
right? It was like a full EMT trip through what you call I can't remember what the term they use for it, but it's like it going through a passageway.
Right.
And right beyond that passageway, if it is that you pass that point, you have a full breakthrough, right? That was the experience was like going through the passageways where you're seeing like you're walking through a kaleidoscope, you're seeing things changing and moving. I'm not seeing with your eyes. If you open your eyes, you're gonna see the world bending around you, right? But not in extreme like you spinning around.
Really?
Not like you're not gonna see like
Your ceiling melting.
no, you won't be seeing that, right? What you will be seeing is LSD is more energy based. So like if it is you're looking at something, you're gonna see like you're gonna be looking at this glass and the glass gonna be glowing like
Okay.
right? But if you close your eyes, you're gonna be seeing through your third eye.
Right. Right, well that's what it does, it pops open.
Yeah, so you're gonna be seeing through your third eye and you're gonna if it is you're lucky enough to have a breakthrough,
Right.
which you can have a breakthrough with DMT and probably high doses of LSD, which neither of which they don't get you hooked, right? the only thing that's going to make you want to do it again is like if it is you have a super, like a really positive experience with it, you might feel like you want to feel that again, but the chemical itself is not going to make you feel you want to do it again. So it's not like cigarettes in India, right? It have a craving,
Right.
right?
So it's a bad athlete, well,
But
kind of.
a lot of people say it's like a one and done for them. So like a lot of people who are trying to heal like their hearts or their souls or something, a lot of stories I heard come from people who take ayahuasca, right? Who actually go to Peru and they go to these resorts and with these shamans, I mean, who make the concoction and they have their full trip. They feel better, they come back, they never want to do that again because they found what they're looking for, right? And that's DMT / ayahuasca, right? And LSD is similar, but you don't always get. You're more likely to
But
have.
you see a lot of different things too. Like you see things that you don't want to see.
And well, that's
Like
Wait.
say if you have a girl and she's cheating on you, you can see that while you're on.
Well,
Because what you're talking about, I know I never took it, but
I guess that's based on suspicion, like
No,
just in your heart. But
well,
I mean, I can't say that particular example, but there are a lot.